teacher Max here again, and welcome to today's video where I will be testing your English ability to listen, to comprehend, understand the story, and to answer some questions. If you have watched some of the previous videos, I hope you've watched all of them. We are discussing numerous of stories, so lots of stories that will help us understand what fables are. Fables are stories that mom and dad were told by grandpa and grandma and great-grandpa, grandma. So they are passed down to families, and sometimes the characters in these stories can change. Please listen carefully, because after the story, you must answer some questions. Our fable today is The Baker and the Florist. Now, a florist is someone that looks after flowers, that sells flowers, and a baker is someone that makes delicious bread. This story happened quite recently in a big metropolitan city. A metropolitan city is a city that's big, that's noisy, that's boisterous. It's always awake. The city never sleeps, with all the sparkling lights and all the people running around, either going out, going to business, going to work. And in this city, there lived a very popular man, a baker. Now, many people did not like this man because he was mean, he was spiteful, but he did make delicious pastries, delicious bread, and delicious cakes that people could smell. If they walked down the street, a few streets down, they could smell this mouth-watering aroma of all the delicate croissants and the breads that he makes. Now, the baker might have been a good baker, but he wasn't a very kind man. He was so stingy that when he made bread and there were some crumbs, he wouldn't even take the crumbs and throw it to the birds. Instead, he would use the crumbs and try to use it in more of his breads or his cakes. Next to the baker was a lovely lady, a woman who used to be a florist. Now, she used to sell these lovely flowers. She loves the smell of flowers, but unfortunately, her business had not been doing so well, and her flower shop was almost closed because many of her flowers were dying. People were not buying the flowers, but everyone knew that she was very hardworking and she was always happy. And in the past, when you went into a shop, she was always smiling and always greeted you warmly. Now, one particular morning, the baker was busy making some fresh baked bread, and a delicious smell wafted, it drifted on the wind, and outside, the poor florist sat down on the chair and she just smiled. That smells amazing, mouth-watering, divine. She just closed her eyes and enjoyed the smell of this lovely food that he was making or baking. Now, to an extent, the baker was quite angry about the situation. He didn't like the fact that she was always so happy. She had nothing, he mumbled to himself. She has nothing. Why is she so happy? And then he started to get frustrated because every morning when he was baking something delicious, she was seen sitting outside her closed shop, smiling and obviously enjoying the scent of the fresh goods which he had spent the morning baking. Remember how I said he was stingy? Yes, he was quite greedy. He did not like to share any of his foods or give something away for free. So, when one morning the florist was sitting outside, minding her own business with a warm cup of tea, smelling the lovely breads which he baked, the baker got angry. He marched over to her and he told her enough was enough, and he gave her a piece of paper with a bill on it. Can you believe? An actual bill telling her that she owes him money because she is smelling the food which he had been making. He spent so much time and he was working so hard, and she was just smelling it for free. The florist laughed in his face and asked him, Are you joking? I am merely smelling the delicious food that you make. I have not bought anything. No, you will pay for it. And her laughter angered him. In fact, he started going from shop to shop and venting his frustration, telling all of them that this poor florist must now pay for the smell, the satisfaction the smells are giving her from his shop. It's not for free, he says. You are smelling what I am baking. The whole town started to hear about this and they were laughing. They thought the baker was funny, and some thought he was crazy, and others were angered by his preposterous notion that she, the florist, should pay for the smells coming from his bakery. But the baker was not joking. He was so angry by this idea that he actually went to court and went to a judge. And he took the florist with him, and he told the judge he works hard, and now the florist is sitting next door doing nothing, smelling the delicious things he is making. The judge listened carefully and he turned to the florist. You could see by the way she was dressed, she didn't have a lot of money, she didn't have a lot of things in her life, but she seemed like a humble woman. Are you, dear florist, sitting outside and smelling the baker's breads and cakes he makes every morning? Yes, the florist said, looking down, very worried because she did not have a lot of money, and she was worried that this greedy baker would take the money from her which she had worked so hard for. The money which she kept aside because her shop was now closed. So the judge made a final decision. If you agree that you've been smelling all his baked goods for free, you need to present him with some of your money. The florist was very sad, heartbroken in fact, because these coins were the last coins which she had. So the judge told her, please take out your coins and hold them in your hand. She tried to keep the tears back because she was obviously very heartbroken and very sad. So the judge told her, close your hand and shake the coins. So she shook them. Then the judge said, pass the coins from one hand to another hand, like so. Then the judge said, Baker, do you see that money? Yes, the baker said, greedy, and he couldn't wait to get the money. Did you hear that money? Yes, it's the money that I deserve because she is smelling my goods. Well, Baker, the sound of the money made you happy, just like the smell of the breads made her happy. So I would say that the debt had been paid. And the judge slammed down his hammer. And the baker was so ashamed, and everybody in the courtroom started laughing at him because he realized the silly mistake he had made. He was in fact greedy. And so on that day, he learned a lesson and a very important moral to this story. Here, it is important to remember that you always have to treat people fairly and to be honest that you must never judge them unfairly and let greed dictate. Let greed show you or tell you how you should act. I really hope you enjoyed the story. I found it very funny the first time I listened to it. I tried to hold back my laughter. Can you imagine you're in the courtroom and the judge asked you to shake the coins? What a silly baker. I hope you're ready because we have some questions, and after we answer these questions, you will have yet more stories to look forward to. Okay, now it is time for the questions. I hope you have been listening carefully. Remember, there is no rush. You are more than welcome to press pause after our questions and then compare them to my answers. Let's read number 1, please. What is the difference between the baker and the florist? What jobs do they do? Number 2, how did the aroma, the smell of the freshly baked bread make the florist feel? Do you think the baker's actions were reasonable? Were they good actions? Were they bad? Why? What did the judge decide the outcome for the florist and the baker was? So what did the judge do? And finally, what is the moral of the story? Please kindly can you press pause, and when you are ready and you have written down your answers or verbally spoke them out loud, then you can press play. 3, 2, 1, pause! Bing, 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 bing. If you have just pressed play, welcome back. Let us have a quick look at our answers. I hope you get them all right. Not 2 out of 5, but 5 out of 5. Number 1, what is the difference in the jobs, the occupations? A baker bakes bread and cakes while a florist looks after and sells flowers in a shop. Easy peasy, right? Number 2, how did the aroma of the freshly baked bread make the florist feel? The scents coming from the bakery made the florist feel happy. Despite having so little, she appreciated the delicious smells. She was so happy just to smell all the smells, even if she had nothing in the world to offer. Do you think the baker's actions were reasonable? Were they good? Were they bad? No. The baker was unreasonable because he baked the bread. So the smell is caused by him. He cannot ask people to pay for the smell as well as pay for the bread and the goodies he is selling in his shop. What did the judge do? This was funny. What did he decide for the florist and the baker? What was the outcome? The judge asked the florist to rattle some coins in her hands. Do you remember? So the baker could hear them and get the satisfaction from the moving money sound. So you smell it, now you can hear the coins. It's almost the same aspect. It's quite funny. The moral of the story: we should always remember to treat people with honesty and also fairly, and we should not be ruled by our greed. There's a lot of this greed coming out through all the fables. People shouldn't be greedy. They should be helpful. They should want to share. They should be nice, be kind, don't judge. Thank you so much for joining our video today. I am so excited. I have many more videos that I would like to help you improve your English listening, writing, and speaking abilities. Stay tuned. I will see you soon. Bye.